in Wisconsin to be off 10 points, and Joe Biden would still be ahead by 7 points. So I suppose Biden may have a little bit of breathing room in Wisconsin. But it's so interesting. A year ago, we looked at the Badger State as the ultimate swing state. Everybody was focusing on Wisconsin, Wisconsin, Wisconsin. And here we are, less than a week to the election. And both camps understand, even if Donald Trump doesn't, that Joe Biden has Wisconsin put away and Michigan not far behind.
I think, Joe, I feel uncomfortable at any point at this point talking about anything being put away, only because, we've seen obviously consistent polling out of those two states that suggest a very strong and steady lead for Biden, and now a widening lead if this poll is to be believed in Wisconsin. I don't think anybody thinks no one in the world thinks Joe Biden's going to win Wisconsin by 17 points. The reason I have any hesitance at this point, we're now less than a week out, right? We're getting down to that place where some of the things that we talked about for the last 6 months, besides Joe Biden's steady lead in a lot of polling, besides his strong position in these battleground states, some of the stuff we've talked about for the last 6 months, besides that, are now starting to kind of rear their heads, right? Which is, related to these upper Midwest, these Great Lakes states, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. All of them have voting systems that are going to be really put to the test. All of them, none of them have ever, all three of them have said that they don't expect to have an outcome on election night. Any state that does not have an outcome on election night is a state that Donald Trump has already told us he's going to mess with, at least to try to mess with rhetorically. We're starting to see signs of that in these closing days on the home stretch here with Trump out, starting to talk about that, we need to see a result on November 3rd, and anything that is not decided on November 3rd is suspect, and I'm going to cry fraud about anything where we don't have a final count on election night. And those three Great Lakes states are in that category. And so I raise it mainly because it is something we've talked about for the last 6 months. But I think, in these closing days, it's easy for us all to forget that they would start to treat this like a normal campaign with a normal president who treats the process with respect. This is a president who has telegraphed his desire to try to steal this election for the last 6 months. And now, as we're starting to see these long lines, these various questions about the Supreme Court intervening in the Wisconsin case, the court fights happening, particularly in those three Great Lakes Midwest states. I am concerned, not that Joe Biden's position is not strong in all three, because I think it is. In fact, I saw some private polling yesterday that suggested he's up 8 in Pennsylvania, which some polling that I found quite credible. It's not that his position isn't strong in those places, but those are places where I think the president's strategy doesn't just stop over these last 6 days. The president's strategy for how to win in those states extends beyond election day and extends into realms that are legal and sometimes extra legal. It's part of the reason why I think no one in the Democratic Party should rest with a sense of security about anything they're seeing in any of these closing days polls. This could be a knife fight that goes on well after election day.
Well, the president's team has said they just want to keep the states close enough so they can have legal challenges that they can take to the Supreme Court. And now, of course, they have Amy Coney Barrett on the Supreme Court, and Donald Trump bragged to his crowds even before he named her that he was going to rush through a pick so he could have somebody that would help him win his election fights, which, of course, if she doesn't remove herself from those cases, then, of course, that would forever tarnish her legacy at the Supreme Court. Let me say that again. When the president and Ted Cruz both say we need to get somebody on the Supreme Court to rule in our favor for any election challenges, and then that person is put on the Supreme Court, selected and put on the Supreme Court after that, obviously you have to remove yourself from consideration of that case, or else you undermine your credibility.